I want to let you know that there is a definitive blueprint that you can follow to achieve success, prosperity, longevity, and peace of mind.
It's gonna be in a dimension it's never been.
Yeah, it's gonna be
the greatest thing floating in 2024. Mark the words. No way. in a whole different realm of business.
Would love to work with Eddie. Eddie won't return my calls, so maybe one day we'll have a conversation.
So, you know how Tyler Perry's been making waves lately with all these allegations swirling around him? Well, it's got people talking, especially after Eddie Murphy and Katt Williams hinted at something fishy about how Perry shot to stardom so fast. They're wondering if maybe other black artists got the short end of the stick in Perry's rise to the top. Let's dig in and see what's really going on.
So we were sitting in the service and I leaned up toward him and I said, I've just been touched to give $1 million.
For fans of Katt Williams, attending his shows is more than just an evening of joke. It's an experience that bridges the gap between the absurdities of the world and the shared laughter of a like-minded audience. Williams fearlessly dives into the headlines of the day, poking fun at everyone from Trump with his mugshot, to DeSantis in a yin-yang manner, and Biden alongside the concept of unclaimed baggage. He delves into the complexities of reparations, sprinkles in a bit of humor about Ukraine, and playfully explores the mysterious world of UFOs.
I'm so sick of talking shit about Joe Biden. Joe need to get his together. You need to wake up, Joe!
Katt's fans might not articulate it perfectly, but his Dark Matter tour is like listening to a fellow traveler navigating the labyrinth of the bizarre and the bewildering in our world. It was an opportunity for the audience to connect, to momentarily release the weight of the world, and to collectively chuckle at the sheer ridiculousness of it all. What makes it even more remarkable, according to his fans, is that throughout the performance, the comedians unabashedly poke fun at the very things that are supposed to divide us. In their own unique way, they bring us closer together, reminding us that laughter is a unifying force, even in the face of what might seem insurmountable differences. Now, this is where the eyebrows raised and people started to link many mishaps that occurred in his life with his alleged dark revelations of the industry. With a career that began in his teenage years, Katt Williams has crafted a comedy style that melds articulate and razor-sharp dialogue with a keen eye for the ever-evolving American political landscape. His stand-up prowess has garnered critical acclaim, evident in memorable specials like The Pimp Chronicles, Katt Williams, Pimpadelic, American Hustle, Katt-Pacalypse, Katt Williams' Great America, and the most recent, Katt Williams' World War III on Netflix. He said in one of his comedy shows, "The past is something for you to learn from, and the future is something that you hope is going to happen. But I'm always speaking to my actual fans in present tense." But Katt's talents don't stop at comedy. He has also etched his name into the annals of acting, kicking off his journey with a guest spot on NYPD Blue in 2002, before making a memorable mark as Money Mike in his first feature film, Friday After Next. His presence has graced numerous TV series and films, including Father Figures, Norbit, Scary Movie V, Epic Movie, Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore, and iconic appearances in The Boondocks and Wild and Out.
Say hi, Daddy. Say hi, Daddy.
Hi, Daddy.
Whose goddamn white baby is that? This is your baby.
Williams' guest role on FX's critically acclaimed series Atlanta further solidified his talent, earning him a coveted Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series in 2018.
I am a person who does not seek validation. I make sure that when I leave the house that I feel tall enough and special enough, and as an actor I feel like.
Katt Williams, armed with a wealth of experience in the entertainment industry, has become a noteworthy figure unearthing the industry's well-kept secrets. He seems to possess an insider's knowledge, perhaps more than most, about the concealed truths lurking behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. With unwavering resolve, Katt has taken on the role of a whistleblower, fearlessly exposing eye-opening revelations that have reverberated like seismic shocks across the realm of entertainment.
And the fact of the matter is, we watched this nigga get murdered right in front of our own face. And the nigga knew it was finna happen. He told us, and we didn't know.
In tandem with his exposés regarding the alleged conspiracy surrounding Michael Jackson's death, Katt Williams has also been an outspoken advocate for addressing the portrayal of black actors donning feminine attire within the entertainment industry.
It might also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress. Okay, well.
Katt Williams has demonstrated an unflinching resolve when it comes to discussing controversial and uncomfortable topics, not shying away from subjects that some might prefer to avoid. His outspoken nature has, at times, seemed to rub certain elements within the industry the wrong way. In fact, there have been various incidents that hint at Hollywood's potential efforts to distance itself from Katt due to his unwavering and uncompromising stance on these important issues.
Why? Because ain't nobody gonna sleep with him. You only got Tiffany Haddish. She been doing comedy since she was 16.
And all this has been referred to Tyler now by netizens. The recent controversies swirling around Tyler Perry have really stirred the pot, especially with some artists stepping up and questioning whether he's really looking out for his fellow Black creators. But you know what? This drama isn't anywhere close to being settled. Things are still heating up. And here is what Ice Cube said.
People are very polarized in all kind of ways. People are afraid to speak out.
In a jaw-dropping revelation, Dave Chappelle also brought attention to what he perceives as a darker side of Kevin Hart's legacy, suggesting that Kevin might engage in inappropriate activities solely for the pursuit of money and fame in Hollywood. Chappelle also claimed that Tyler Perry has majorly played a role in manipulating Kevin Hart. Once Kevin became aware of the public exposure by Chappelle, he reacted strongly and confronted Chappelle about these allegations. The unfolding situation raises questions about the dynamics between the two and leaves people wondering about the nature of their relationship.
When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
Things just took a wild turn. Kevin Hart stepped into the spotlight wearing some feminine getup on a TV show. And let me tell you, the backlash was real. It's like he did a complete 180 from what he's been preaching. Remember when he was all about staying professional and not getting caught up in Hollywood antics? Yeah, he made it crystal clear in interviews. But now, it's like he's doing the exact opposite and folks are calling him out for it.
I was like, no, I'm gonna look stupid. At the end of the day, you gotta know that you're a brand.
Following this incident, Kevin made an unexpected appearance on a television show, seemingly indifferent to safeguarding his brand and dignity. Dave Chappelle found this particularly troubling because he values dignity and has consistently advocated for fair treatment of Black individuals in the entertainment industry, highlighting how they are often mistreated by Hollywood elites.
Pope Conventionate is lifting her arms into her signature muscle man pose.
Kevin doing these absurd things bothered Chappelle, and he spilled tea on every single detail of who tricked Kevin to appear like this on the TV screens.
There's no animosity there, but there's an awareness of where the void is. So now I take that and make sure I apply it to mine.
According to him, it is Tyler who has been involved in grooming Black artists. This belief among people was further intensified when a Twitter user uploaded a video. This individual chose to openly voice her discontent with Tyler Perry's films, highlighting what she believed to be a bias in his work. Taking her critique a step further, she went on to create and share a video on social media, drawing a comparison between Tyler Perry's films and what she considered to be subpar quality. Her criticism did not stop at this point.
I'm not a Tyler Perry fan, so this is what I got to say. It's funny how he got all this money to do everything but the right thing.
The woman claimed that Tyler Perry possesses a fear of white people, asserting that this fear was impacting his creative decisions and choices. Her statements resonated with others, prompting them to express their opinions on Tyler Perry and his body of work.
And they said they loved the script, but they wasn't sure how the film was going to turn out, so they passed.
These videos imply that there might be a hidden truth beneath the surface. The question arises, what could be Tyler Perry's secret that has led some dark-skinned actors to decline working with him? Tyler Perry has definitely made a name for himself, especially with his Medea series rocking the box office and his roots in the Atlanta theater scene. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Controversy seems to be part of his journey. Rumors have been swirling, suggesting his ego got so big that he even butted heads with heavyweights like Oprah. Hollywood's a tough game, and sometimes you gotta wonder what kind of moves people make to get ahead. Looks like Tyler Perry's had his fair share of those moments.
When I'm hearing all this noise, man, it was crazy because there were no Black people on television. Before diversity became a thing, Tyler Perry was the only one out there for a long time.
After finding success at the box office, Tyler Perry expanded into television with the well-received sitcom House of Pain. However, controversy ensued during negotiations for a syndication deal and a spin-off series named Meet the Browns. According to Deadline, Perry dismissed 4 writers who had requested union contracts, creating a tense situation in the industry. Writer Terry Perry Jackson expressed her discontent, stating to Deadline, "We were good enough to create over 100 episodes, but now when it comes to reaping the benefits of the show being syndicated and having other spin-offs from it, he decides to let us go unless we accept a horrible offer." When the disputes hit the fan, Tyler Perry decided to take matters into his own hands, announcing that he'd be writing everything himself from now on. But the drama didn't stop there. Perry's clashes with unions went beyond just the writing room. Back in 2015, actor unions SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity put their foot down, banning their members from getting involved in Perry's stage play, Medea on the Run, all because his production company wouldn't sign those union contracts. Seems like Perry's all about maximizing profit, but not everyone's giving him a round of applause for his methods in the industry.
There's a camera on you, baby.
There's a camera on me right now?
Back behind you.
Oh, hello, praise the Lord. We'd like to tell everybody in Dallas that we are on our way. Thank you.
Following the success of House of Pain and Meet the Browns, African-American journalist and cultural critic Jamilah Lemieux penned an open letter to Tyler Perry, published by NPR. In her letter, Lemieux conveyed her discomfort with Perry's utilization of stereotypes in his work. She expressed, "Through her, the country has laughed at one of the most important members of the Black community, Mother Dear, the beloved matriarch. I just can't quite get with seeing Mother Dear played by a 6'3" man with prosthetic breasts flopping in the wind. Our mothers and grandmothers deserve much more than that. Heck, our fathers and grandfathers deserve more. Mr. Perry, you have told the Hollywood old guard to kiss your backside, and I appreciate that, brother, but many Black folks have expressed some of the very same attitudes about your work that white critics have." Tyler Perry's casting decisions and how he portrays characters have stirred up quite the debate among viewers, shining a light on his business tactics. Critics are pointing out a pattern. They say Perry tends to cast darker-skinned actors as villains, while the heroes are often lighter-skinned. It sparked some serious conversations about representation and how characters are portrayed in his movies and shows, and seems like people aren't holding back on their opinions about it.
Beautiful Black woman being abused by a no-good, dark-skinned man, and then saved and rescued by the perfect light-skinned man.
Moreover, a few months back, Monique took the stage at the Apollo Theater and didn't hold back about her feelings towards Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, and Oprah Winfrey. Apparently, she spilled the tea during her comedy routine, revealing the strained relationships she's had with them. Monique claimed they basically shut her out of Hollywood after her standout performance in Daniels' Precious back in 2010. She said she's only been in 4 films since then, blaming what she calls their whiteballing tactics. And get this, she's been talking about being blackballed by this trio since 2015.
And that's when he said, "Mama, you've been blackballed." And I said, "Well, why have I been blackballed?" And he said, "Because you didn't play the game."
In response, Lee Daniels told The Hollywood Reporter that Monique's demands during Precious didn't quite jive with the campaign, which rubbed some folks the wrong way. But he still considers her a friend and is open to working with her in the future. Monique fired back during her Apollo set, calling out the lack of fairness and equal pay, and she didn't mince words.
"What we're asking you, CBS, don't pay us any more, but don't pay us any less."
Back in 2009, Monique had plans to hit the press circuit for Precious, which was co-produced by Oprah and Tyler Perry. But here's the kicker. They expected her to do it for free, and she was already exhausted from filming. So, Monique decided to pass and spend time with her family instead. Seemed reasonable, right? Well, next thing she knows, she's labeled as difficult and hard to work with. Suddenly, media stories start painting her in a negative light, and her career takes a nosedive despite winning an Oscar. Monique's not buying it and has been vocal about wanting an apology from Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. But so far, crickets.
She said, "If you don't want me to have your brother on the show, I will cancel the show. No show will happen. But I wanted to call you up."
After the press tour debacle, Monique revealed on Comedy Central about Oprah inviting Monique's brother Gerald and her parents to her show. The backstory is that Monique's brother had SA her when she was between the ages of 7 and 11, a matter she had been open about in a 2008 interview with Essence. Monique had confided in Oprah about her strained relationship with her parents due to the assault, and Oprah appeared to be understanding. Monique mentioned that she was okay with Oprah inviting Gerald, but didn't want to be a part of it. However, during the taping, Monique was blindsided by seeing commercials featuring her family. Oprah had seemingly gone back on her word, pretending to be caring. Monique demanded an apology, but Oprah offered nothing. No private apology, no public apology, nothing. The fact that Oprah and Tyler Perry are buddies doesn't make the situation any better. It's a real mixed bag of opinions out there. Some folks think Monique is just drama stirring, while others reckon Perry and the crew owe her an apology. Monique's definitely not holding back, especially especially when it comes to Tyler. And there's this buzz that she's gearing up to spill all his secrets. With her long history in the biz, it wouldn't be shocking if she's got some insider info. Tyler Perry has undeniably left a significant mark, ascending to fame in the Atlanta theater scene and achieving box office success with his Medea series. However, Perry's journey has not been devoid of controversy. Speculation suggests that Perry's ego may have grown to the extent of causing conflicts, even with influential figures like Oprah. In the competitive landscape of Hollywood, progress often comes with challenges, sometimes involving controversial strategies, and it appears that Tyler Perry may not be exempt from such experiences.
When I'm hearing all this noise, man, it was crazy because there were no black people on television. Before diversity became a thing, Tyler Perry was the only one out there for a long time.
Eddie Murphy has also talked about some major unjust things allegedly happening in the industry, which might be under people like Tyler Perry. Eddie Murphy's lone Oscar nomination came for his performance in Bill Condon's musical Dreamgirls. In interviews, Murphy has openly admitted that he might not have put in the same level of effort as he typically does in his comedic roles.
One of the greatest, funniest people of all time was George Carlin, and he received this award posthumously.
Critics continue to analyze Eddie Murphy's portrayal in The Nutty Professor, where he utilized makeup and prosthetics to embody the entire Clump family. This transformative technique also resonates in the Coming to America films, notably in the memorable barbershop scene.
I ain't saying clean bad. I'm just saying I stopped liking Cassius Clay once you changed the name to Muhammad Ali. What kind of shit is that?
During a conversation with Coming to America director Craig Brewer on the Real Blend podcast, we brought up Murphy's repeated snubs by the Academy, and Brewer shared his insights on why this pattern persists. He said, "It really bothers me, and I feel that it's even more stilted against Eddie because the problem that I think people have with Eddie is that they think that it's easy for him. I'm sure there are many things in Eddie's life that feel easy, but what people don't know is what I see, which is him sitting in his chair. In makeup, he's putting on music, he's getting into a place, he's rehearsing these lines. You see him where he doesn't fool around on set. When you're in between takes, he goes to his chair and you see him get into this trance where he is working and working and working. There's craft there, and I worry that people think that like, oh well, Eddie's just showing up and being funny, like he's always done. And that's just not true. Yes, he's showing up and being hilarious, but it's not like he's just flipping a switch. Fans believe that it's indeed an unjust evaluation of comedians, and Eddie Murphy is not the sole funny individual to be overlooked due to the Academy's reluctance to fully recognize comedic talents. One person wrote on the internet, "No one ever said Hollywood had morals. The award bit is true. The 1995 movie Heat had one of the most realistic gunfights ever filmed, and it didn't even get a nomination for the Oscars." Another one added, "For award shows, it's also about campaigning and which studio will spend the most money to wow the jury, like Weinstein famously did. And you didn't talk about the pedophilia problem concerning chid actors. The Oscars have come under fire for their lack of inclusivity towards black actors, with various controversies marring the award show's reputation. One significant incident unfolded in 2019 when Kevin Hart withdrew as the Oscars host following the resurfacing of past homophobic tweets. Additionally, the #OscarsSoWhite movement has emerged, advocating for greater diversity and acknowledgement of people of color and marginalized communities within the industry. Consequently, there's a prevailing perception that Hollywood's esteemed Walk of Fame increasingly resembles a walk of shame due to its notable absence of stars representing diversity.
Kevin Hart has stepped down from hosting this year's Oscars. He put out a statement on Twitter tonight saying, "I have made the choice to step down."
In a February afternoon in 1940s, America, actress Hattie McDaniel made history by winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in Gone with the Wind, 1940. Her achievement was groundbreaking, as she became the first African American to receive this esteemed film award. However, while her victory left an indelible mark on cinema history, it was overshadowed by the harsh reality of segregation. At the Oscar ceremony, which effectively operated as a whites-only event, McDaniel found herself segregated from the rest of the attendees. Rather than being a joyous celebration, the event was marred by segregation, highlighting the deeply entrenched racial inequalities of the time.
I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel.
80 years later, the film industry continues to grapple with pervasive forms of discrimination, despite some strides towards greater diversity. The 2020 Oscar ceremony, like many before it, was tainted by racial controversies that have sadly become all too familiar for both audiences and industry insiders. Prominent snubs, such as the omission of Lupita Nyong'o for her remarkable performance in the 2019 film Us, serve as stark reminders of this ongoing issue.
And the Oscar goes to Lupita Nyong'o.
In a reflective tone, Murphy drew attention to the presence of distinct factions within the community. He observed the apparent fragmentation among individuals of the same race, emphasizing that historically, this divide was imposed rather than natural. Referencing the era of slavery, he hinted at instances where cohesive groups of slaves were deliberately dismantled. Bringing the discussion to the present, Murphy noted that when a Black person attains success, there's often an inclination to distance oneself and singularly claim ownership of achievements. He attributed this reluctance to unify to an underlying fear of disrupting personal equilibrium in the pursuit of collective collaboration.
We got that hooked. We got all this shit is hooked up for Black people. Chinese people all around because they got little dicks and little.
Murphy emphasized that this intrinsic division isn't a deliberate decision, but rather deeply rooted. He highlighted that this apprehension stems from the unease white individuals often harbor towards Black individuals. Reflecting on a personal anecdote, he recounted an encounter involving Mike Tyson. At a gathering hosted by Eddie Murphy Productions, Murphy found himself in the presence of Tyson and Don King.
Stay tuned for more of the Sammy Davis Jr. tribute honoring the one heavyweight I would never dare step into the ring with.
Reflecting on his workplace dynamics, where his managers were the sole white employees, the trio engaged in a conversation about white individuals and governmental affairs. Remarkably, the discussion was conducted in hushed tones, a phenomenon Murphy attributed to the pervasive apprehension instilled by the influence of white individuals, resulting in even discreet discussions within the confines of one's own environment.
They doing it up the way they walk. They be walking all light because they ain't got pulling them down.
The long-awaited classic interview emerged as an opportunity for both individuals to address the misunderstandings between them. However, more than a decade passed before any indications of their potential collaboration came to light. It was during this time that Spike Lee secured a role in a James Brown biopic and contemplated enlisting Eddie Murphy for the project. Regrettably, Lee's involvement was short-lived as he was eventually replaced by director Tate Taylor.
So up his balance, he be doing all this shit.
Skipping ahead to 2014, Chadwick Boseman took on the lead role in the movie instead of Eddie Murphy. Despite the ongoing absence of a film collaboration between Murphy and Lee, discussions have persistently surfaced. In 2011, it was reported that Murphy was lined up to portray former DC Mayor Marion Barry in a biopic directed by Spike Lee for HBO. However, Spike Lee changed his intentions and did not go with Murphy. Notably, Murphy's earlier observations about the unconventional dynamics for Black individuals in Hollywood prompted efforts towards the establishment of a genuine Black Hollywood scene.
Every time you see a brother in a wheelchair, he ain't always crippled. You got this shit hanging down.
Back in 1988, an article by Paul Mooney in the Los Angeles Times unveiled Murphy's, Robert Townsend's, Keenan Ivory Wayans' and Arsenio Hall's endeavor to unite under the banner of the Black Pack. The specifics behind the dissolution of this initiative remain unclear, but Murphy's conversation with Spike in Spin magazine offers a glimpse into why the collaboration may not have endured. With the backdrop of societal protests unfolding on the streets, the current juncture invites contemplation on transitioning the protest to the realm of filmmaking. It raises questions about addressing racism, whether through a subdued or vociferous cinematic approach.
Even they did have some skills, they were still enslaved.
Amongst these instances, one figure stands out as the most prominent cross-dresser of our time, Tyler Perry. Known not only for his entertainment ventures, but also for his right-wing evangelical influence, Perry's Medea franchise has achieved considerable success and recognition.
Hell is Black Friday. Every Friday is Friday. I'm black. That's a Black Friday. What you talking about?
While Tyler Perry has carved a prosperous path within the gospel play realm, he's effectively extended his triumph to the film industry, bringing his contemporary portrayal to a larger cinematic canvas.
No, it's a stage play. It's like Broadway, just with black people.
Remarkably, his latest book, Don't Make a Black Woman Take Off Her Earrings, even secured a spot on the prestigious New York Times bestsellers list. This prompts an inquiry. What underlies this phenomenon? Why do these artists engage in acts that seemingly emasculate themselves? And why does the audience eagerly embrace the spectacle of the black man being subjected to such humiliation? The portrayal of black masculinity in a more feminine context could potentially lead to a perception of reduced threat and increased ease for certain individuals. Such cross-dressing depictions of black men might function as a way to counterbalance the dominant and forceful image commonly associated with hip-hop culture. Over the span of several years, it's been reported that Hollywood played a significant role in perpetuating various stereotypes, unfortunately contributing to the shaping of public perception about black individuals for a significant part of the audience. During this time, a debate emerged suggesting that due to the limited opportunities within the entertainment industry, black artists often felt compelled to take on stereotypical roles as a way to sustain their livelihoods.
A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you.
Although the entertainment industry hasn't fully reached a state of racial equality, present-day performers do have a certain level of control over their choices. What remains puzzling in the context of these current figures is their seeming openness to adopt cross-dressing roles, with Kevin Hart's name particularly prominent in this regard.
Pope Conventionate is lifting her arms into her signature muscle man pose.
Many people have come out to express that they are opposed to witnessing further instances of black men in dresses, with the belief that this phenomenon has run its course. Supposedly, our society is already influenced by numerous factors seeking to undermine the masculinity of black men, and there's no need to contribute to these forces in any way.
When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
Over an extended period, Hollywood took the forefront in propagating a range of stereotypes that regrettably ended up shaping the perception of black individuals for a significant portion of the population. Throughout this era, a contention arose that due to limited opportunities in the entertainment industry, black artists often found themselves compelled to accept stereotypical roles as a means of securing their livelihood. While opinions vary on this argument, it's important to acknowledge that this era has since come to an end. As Murphy said, "I'd do the pilot, show up here and there. None of the movie scripts were right. It was trying to force the premise. If you have to force something, you shouldn't be doing it." That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.